Welcome back to Reign of the Contest here. It's Flanks06, and today we are doing update number 63. I'm here with Max from the Discord channel, and he'll be talking with me here over update 63. And this one should be a pretty exciting one if you haven't already seen it. Hopefully, you're going to be in for some good news here if you didn't read the update already, which
Yeah,
is exactly what it's called. So good news. So basically, they're kind of going over at the beginning of this update a lot of the issues that came up, um, and the factors that contributed to the delay. And really, these are the same things that we've talked over and over about in previous videos. Pandemic, the container and shipping shortages, but they really want to try to make everything as transparent as possible so people don't feel like they were hiding things, or that there's something else. I think that there was just a little bit of communication issues that could have been better, which we talked about, I think, like in the last video I did, but this one is a huge improvement. Um, so anyway, they talked about just like the development process, about how Alex was planned to go to China and be able to check on the molds as they were working on the miniatures, to help speed things up, but that did not happen this time in comparison to like the first campaign. So that did impact some of the delays, which is the same thing we knew about. Real quick here, you'll see that we're looking at this power level and the heroes and bosses. A lot of people asked about this in Discord and as well in the update. This is from the boss versus boss rulebook. There's no like special like power level or anything for the normal campaign or normal PvP rules, just for this specific boss versus boss mode. And if you want to learn more about boss versus boss, got a video on that, and that should help clarify what's going on here. But all the characters are balanced. There's no kind of hierarchy for the rest of the game modes.
I will just say as a quick heads up. In that upper right, it says check the latest version of this power level at dragori.com/pvp.
Yeah,
That website doesn't exist.
that's
So
true. Yeah, it is a good point. They've had a few of these like this, and of course, even like in Arena the contest, there's like the QR codes, for example, that currently I don't think they work, but they were in the process of transitioning, I think, some of their site stuff over from like the Arena of the contest to the Dragori page, and I don't think that they fixed some of that stuff yet, but they are aware of it.
I don't think they own that website like at all.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what happened with that. I mean, it's completely subcontracted out. I know that there's nobody at Dragori that actually um, does the page, because whenever I've talked to them before, they're like, "Oh, well, we'll have to talk to our, guy that does that," but it's not somebody that works for them. So it doesn't happen quick. So anyway, they talked a little bit about boss versus boss and how they were doing some additional the development time that they were taking with that. Moving on to 2021, talking about how big all of this, right? Just the first wave weighs a few tons. Um, and trying to get into shipping was a huge challenge, of course, like we've talked about, of shipping companies canceling on them the last minute several times, and even the Suez Canal even indirectly affecting them. So basically, we're getting a little more clarification on some of the things that we kind of assumed or had some ideas on, but now we're getting a much better answer on these things.
Yeah,
Um,
I've always assumed that it's kind of like because let's be real, Dragori is a small business. And they're like, we
exactly.
want to get the more profitable shipping contracts.
Exactly, and that was brought up a lot from people in the community, that other manufacturers necessarily weren't having the same issue, but they have probably a lot more power and money in terms of what things that they can do versus a smaller company like Dragori.
Also, like I think it's experience as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
Some of those have like 20 or 30 Kickstarters out. Dragori, this is their second.
Yep.
So they're like, don't have connections, they don't have as much resources, and they just don't know who to go to.
Yeah. So let's talk about the big part of it. So there's some real big pieces of information from just this shipping logistics side. So one is they are taking a big hit on this. In fact, they even mentioned that they are paying 5 times higher than they originally expected to pay for shipping, and Dragori is just eating that. So I just want to make this a big point that a lot of people may overlook this, but they're just taking it. Like they could have asked, and plenty of other manufacturers have already been asking their backers for more money to cover shipping. But that's not what's happening in this case. They're just going to pay for it so everyone doesn't have to worry about paying anything additional. I think that's just, that's a really great thing. They easily could have and almost should have asked for that money.
Kind of reminds me of when they did the dice thing and everybody hated the dice. So they're like, we'll
Oh
get some
yeah,
new dice, we'll just chuck them in.
exactly. Yeah, they could have charged you for the extra dice, or they basically could have just left them out. I kind of get the feeling though with that they had already like made all the dice, and then by that point when everyone was like, "Ah, we hate them," they were like, "Ah, crap!" Like,
Yeah,
I guess we're just gonna have to pay them for more. But yeah, I
and
mean,
it just gets them community points.
yeah, exactly.
Honestly, they look so much better too.
Well, that's really the one of the things that attracted me more to this game and them as a developer and continuing to support them through even, my channel here is because they do care about the community because you see a lot of other board game companies where it's just like they really seedy tactics and they just keep making games. They don't really care. They're just about it, for the bottom line. But they want to do right by their fans here.
Here's looking at you, FFG.
Yeah, right.
Well, Asmodee now. It's all Asmodee. It always has been.
So the next big thing is they actually changed how their logistics was working. So normally how the process goes, which we've talked about before, they get the boxes, they get them all wrapped up, they put them on containers, they go across the sea, they get to go through customs, then get shipped to a logistics partner who then gets all the boxes and then starts organizing the boxes into shipping packages to actually be sent to your door. Well, they said in this update that they've actually partnered up with one of their manufacturers who also works with Amazon to essentially take out that aspect. And so now they're doing the logistics in the Chinese warehouses to your doorstep. And we got a glimpse of that in the last update, but it was not communicated very clearly that was what was happening. From our perspective, it seemed like they just completely had screwed everything up, and that's why they were reboxing things. But apparently, that's not what happened. It was that they were preparing the orders to be shipped directly to your door. Next thing is going along with that is that so yeah, I guess that the next part includes that aspect of speeding up that delivery by going directly to your order. So then you see some good pictures here of some boxes. And like they say, this is how it usually goes, right? You just get all of these same boxes and then they get put together later. But here you'll see them assembling the boxes for individual orders. All right. Then they mentioned this part here. This one's a little bit more of a. It's true, but it's not really anything new that we didn't know. They said we accelerated the production of RPG project to deliver it with Tanares Adventures second wave. That was kind of already known from the beginning that this was going to happen. So I don't know if this really changes anything else that we didn't know, but they do mention it here. Then they say that they have increased the timeline, which was mentioned in the last update, to make the game better. They go on to actually kind of a relatively good size on the idea of killing one's darling Basically, you have some good ideas and you base everything around it, but the other ideas can't flourish unless you get rid of that one idea that's holding them back. And so they talk about having to rework some things and get rid of some things that they didn't see that was working out well, and now they think that this is going to lead to a much better and more simplified, streamlined version of the game. I do kind of wonder if some of our previous videos may have had an impact on some of the decisions or not.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious as to what they're killing.
Yeah, they never do actually clarify exactly what they were getting rid of. They do mention, I think, some of like the later down here we'll see some of the cards and stuff that they were modifying, but they didn't exactly say what it was. But anyway, with the boss versus boss mode, we did mention how it seemed a little overcomplicated and a little hard for newer players to get into. So I'm wondering if maybe they started re-looking at some of the stuff that was in Tanares Adventures and going like, well, hey, this might be a little bit too much, and maybe we need to improve this a little bit.
Yeah, admittedly, when you look at things and when you're planning them, it's hard to think about how they'll affect you in the long term.
Mm-hmm.
I was imagining, I don't know if you have a picture immediately, but like they were planning to do that like dice cube thing.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a complete pain in the butt to set up like over and over again, especially when you get like around like 20 or 30.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, got to put it back on and off again. And I wonder if they're going to change anything about that or like try to just get rid of as many tokens as they can.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what. I'm wondering, just remember how, so we had an update probably, I think it might have been like 4 or 5 updates ago where they were talking about some of the cards and they had quite a bit of, different descriptions and things and strategies, and essentially like each bad guy had their own kind of like passive ability. I'm wondering if maybe they tuned that down because it did seem like there was a lot going on because you had to balance not just what the bad guy and all of his like special effects and triggers were. It was then you had to like balance that with yours and make sure you attacked the guy in the right order. Otherwise, then his things would get remember it was like the reaction system. So anyway, I don't know.
yeah,
Just kind of speculating in terms of what things they change, but
one thing that I'm kind of hoping for is just to have like cards as characters. So like take out this card, and this card, and those are your enemies instead of having to like keep flipping in the book and stuff.
yeah, yeah, I'm wondering exactly how they'll do that. If they'll have more cards, or if it'll just be referenced in the book like they do with the first campaign, or what. But we'll have to see. So the next thing is they actually they gave us a video on how they have been preparing these boxes for shipping. I'm just going to show a couple seconds here. Basically, it's a plant worker that is deliberately dropping these boxes from a certain height onto the edges, the sides, the bottom, the top, and then you'll see here by the end of it, they start opening the box to examine, all the components inside, which was the legendary box, the map pack one, and the Elder Dragon were all in this particular box. And from the video, I personally did not see any damage, so it seems like that they're packing it pretty well. So, well, I don't know about you. Did you notice any funny business? I mean, they
I
they
think just I couldn't take it seriously after the fifth drop. I was
I
like,
know,
oh,
right?
okay.
He's dropping it all over the place, and you're just like, oh, okay, good. I think we got it after like the first couple, but at least they're being thorough. So it's like encapsulated in this like foam, or not like a foam. It's like an air bubble package.
Which is funny to me because when I got my first arena game, the bottom box part was like broken. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
Interesting. So yeah, it does already seem like it's packaged a lot better. In fact, I think it might have been the last update. I think people did have concerns over the amount of uh, packaging material that was used with the boxes and were a little concerned what they were seeing. So maybe this was also help to try to alleviate people's thoughts on that. Okay, so let's go to we're moving on here to more of the meat of what's happening. So one of the things is the state of development, what the things they've already done. So they've completed all their missions, the gameplay aspects, rules, all the new heroes, all the monsters, all the miniatures, which is a little unsure exactly if that means that design is done and files are ready to go, and that they're just waiting to print them, or if they've already started printing some of these components. I'm pretty sure this just means development is probably done, um,
Yeah,
and that's
when we talk about
yeah. When we get to
printing,
the timeline, we'll talk about why we think that is.
okay.
And then okay, so yeah, this is kind of where what we were discussing earlier is this is what they're still working on. So they're trying to rewrite some of the quest instructions to reduce the number of rules and make actions more fluid. Redesigning minor aspects of key components such as skill trees and items to make the game go faster.
Oh, hey,
Rede-
I was right.
yep. Redesigning monster cards and abilities to reduce even reading even further. Definitely sure that's probably in reference to the one we talked about earlier. Eliminating darling rules that just made the game heavier or more fiddly. Replaced a lot of small rules that address specific game design issues with fewer, more elegant rules that solve several problems at once. That part is really unclear because it doesn't actually give you an example of what that's even referring to.
Yeah, especially because the basic game is pretty lightweight, to be honest.
Yeah.
You just have to remember a few things,
Well, they
like,
they definitely must have made some other additions. I mean, like I said, it was all new ideas, so there must have been something that they added that they thought they had to have, and then changed their mind later. And then, of course, things that are not finished yet, things like identity story, playtesting puzzles, design specific inner workings of the AI, which we can only do after the other rules are 100% finished. Which this specific part, I'm pretty sure is referring to the PvP AI, because I did hear from Alex that they came up with something, but it didn't really work out super great. So that this month they were planning to rework the AI for the PvP mode and try to improve it. So I'm pretty sure they haven't finished with that, and that's why they're still trying to hammer that out.
I know it's super unlikely, but my dream is that they make like a deck for each character,
Oh, what?
a deck for each character for
Oh,
the
yeah.
AI. So it
Yeah,
would
that
be
would be
like seven
interesting.
or eight commands based on their abilities or whatever.
That would probably be a lot of extra components, though.
Correct. That's
So
why it's a dream.
yeah, it's definitely a dream. I'd be adding a lot of extra space and weight,
That'd
and
be like what? If it's four, that'd be 200 cards. If it was eight, that'd be 400 cards.
yeah, it'd be insane. Okay, and then so this part that is coming up here is the timeline. You guys probably have heard me talk in the past about this, about specifically in my last update, I was very frustrated that they didn't come up with a timeline because I specifically asked for it. Last week, before this update came out, I talked to them again about this and my video, and that they were listening to a lot of this, and I reiterated with them again, please make this update include a section of a laid out timeline so people can refer to this timeline as to what's going on. It's not just helpful for like them, but it's also helpful for the backers. It's helpful for us in Discord whenever we get questions. We can go, hey, refer to this update. You can see in the timeline of where this was anticipated to be at. And granted, remember, this is still like estimate, right? So they're trying to give us the best idea that they have right now, but it is possible that some of this could shift. But at least we have something laid out as to what's coming instead of just the immediate information and knowing nothing else as to when or if anything's happening. Just waiting in the wind. So this would be the new template to go on, which I'm very glad that they did. Um, so anyway, starting in June, so this is the big update here. Starting on June 30th, 2021, so that is 5 days away currently from this update. The ship will be leaving to Los Angeles and be arriving on. Um, does it? It says in here, doesn't it? June 12th or July 12th? I'm sorry. Yeah, there it
Yeah,
is.
July 12th.
Yep. So that
You
ship
know,
that's bound for the U.S. will be carrying U.S. games. Will arrive July 12th, and then they say in a matter of few days after that, we expect to have all first wave rewards delivered in the U.S. So that is fantastic news to quite a few members of this campaign that we're going to be getting things here in July when a lot of people weren't even expecting anything till potentially September, October at this point, right?
yeah, we had honestly, I feel like we were kind of in the dark here.
Oh yeah, for sure. We had no idea. I mean, we were all based on the assumption of what they kept saying was like, well, maybe next week it's going to get sent out. And then we are like, okay, well, what's the best possible time? Best case scenario when it could actually get to your door. And we're like, okay, well, it's going to take a month, and then it's going to take a couple weeks to get through customs, and then it's going to take a couple weeks through logistics, and. So it was looking at like September, and now we're moved up to July of actually receiving it at your door. So that's great news. So if you're listening, you'll be getting it very soon here if you're in the U.S. If you are an Asian backer or you are in the Hawaiian Islands area or Alaska, it could be a matter of days before it arrives at your doorstep. So I'm kind of curious if like I was almost expecting maybe somebody would have already been posting stuff if it was actually a matter of days. I'm thinking like maybe like next week or the week after that is probably more likely if it's that quick. But
I'm
they're
guessing mid-June, just like us.
yeah, so they're air mailing these items, so that will definitely be a lot faster, but not cheap for sure. And then the EU fulfillment will be done by train. That's supposedly faster than boat. It will take 5 days before the cargo to arrive at the station, another 7 for it to be loaded on train and depart, which means we'll have more information about it in the next update. So, still a little unclear on EU timeline. Sounds like they're pretty hopeful that basically they'll have another update that may say like in the next couple of weeks or so from then getting your items.
Yeah,
Then the other big news, which we'll go more into here, was that the samples for the RPG books was released with this update. So we'll get into that after we finish this. Going into July, like we said, arrives July 12th. Train arrives, makes it through customs 7 to 10 days. So once it gets there, then it should arrive in 7 to 10 days, and then oh yeah. No, here's the total. So they do give it 30 to 35 days counting from today, June 21st. So end of July sounds like.
which
Um,
we'll see.
huh?
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see, right? I mean, this is all based on the best information that they have now, which could easily change, especially considering the current issues. But they are doing their best here as what they can. And then they say if we can't book a ship to Australia and Canada until next week, the rewards will be airmailed, and in fewer than 10 days they ought to arrive to backers. So in another couple weeks or so, um, sounds like Australian and Canadian backers will receive their items as well. So there's a lot of really good news there, especially like I said, where we're expecting way worse than that, and it's just sounding good. Hopefully, right? We're crossing our fingers here. Getting into August, that European, if worst case is European customs has slowed things down and that they're still trying to get things out to UK people. Important to note is that the pledge manager for Tanares Adventures closes in August. They don't give an exact date, but it is now moved back to August, one more month to try to allow everyone to get their Wave 1 items before it closes, and then you can decide if you want to add the Tanaris RP or the Tanaris Adventures expansion to your order if you didn't already add it. Then, of course, we talked about this. Tanaris RPG Kickstarter launches August 31st. No news there. Day one backers will get the Golden Dragon, which
Want to be painted too?
we'll see here. Will it be painted? No. No.
Oh, I thought it was.
Nope. Well, we don't know full details yet. It's possible that maybe they offer an option. Right now, I'm kind of leaning no. I think it'll just be you just get the miniature.
It's possible that I'm a fool. That's
Yeah.
usually what happens.
Uh,
So
oh, it's very possible. Okay, September Tanaris RPG Kickstarter campaign closes. It's about the normal, right? About a month or so, I'd expect, but who knows? Maybe they're going to do a short campaign, like 10, 15 days or something.
I'm guessing it's going to be 30 days. They're just going to do the month.
Yeah, that's
Because
kind of what
weren't the
I'm
last
thinking too.
two a month long?
So then in October, Pledge Manager for Tanaris RPG opens. Returning backers are identified by the platform to receive joint pledge and cheaper shipping. So this was the part that's always been a little unclear. They mention cheaper shipping. They don't mention how much. Obviously, considering the situation that they mentioned earlier where they're paying 5 times as much, I don't think it's going to be quite as cheap as everyone was originally hoping it was going to be.
Yeah,
But
especially like
yeah,
we're still years out from getting back to normal logistics. There's
yeah.
going to be a bunch more.
Oh yeah,
And
for sure.
let's be real, October is when all the Christmas stuff comes out. So
True. Yep, there is that, and I think it's in August and September or so is when that's like the busiest time of the year I hear for logistics because that's when all stores order their things for Christmas. So we'll see what happens, but and even the pledge manager sometimes takes a little bit longer than what they expect. But if they keep it pretty limited to in the RPG, then this may be pretty likely to happen. So they'll open it up, and then do they say when it closes? Both projects we started
they don't
printing.
say when it'll close,
They
but I'm
don't
guessing it'll
say.
be in like
Yeah.
January.
Yeah, I guess they're probably trying not to give too much on that because they probably don't even know exactly how long. I think they're waiting to see, essentially how long this October part takes, right? Like if they can get people in there and doing stuff quicker, then maybe they might. But it could just kind of depend on what else is going on in the schedule. Uh,
Yeah,
so so in November, they're finishing all the extra components, and then they start printing. Basically, I'm pretty sure this is referring to like rule books and stuff, but major components should probably mostly be printed by this point. I think this is like books and paper materials. And then December RPG and the board game finish printing. We try to book a ship. Hopefully that there's better logistics. Probably unlikely, but we'll see as we get closer. And then they say sometime between January and April is when they expect everyone to receive their rewards with Asia and Australia orders probably happening before everyone else just because they're closer. So that's the timeline. I'm glad we have something here on the board to refer to, and at least something laid out so people can start preparing, and planning for what's to come. Moving on here to the RPG itself. So we got the sample here. They mentioned here about providing this sample, and then of course the free Golden Dragon. It's located here at dragorigames.com/RPG, which is why I've got this up here in a second. But they also mentioned down that they talked to Nerdarchy recently and did like a live stream podcast with them on the RPG book. So if you want to check that out, you can check that as well. We're going to jump here to the page. You'll see here's the listing, kind of shows just real quick on what's coming of the different books and the miniature, and then you click this link and it takes you to a page where you enter your email, and then I think they send it to you. I received mine in a
Email, right?
yeah, I got mine in an email.
They're like,
Um,
hey, sign up for our newsletter
yeah,
and get this drunk.
so let me see if I can pull that up real quick here. Um, Oh, okay. So here's some of the stuff that they sent me. It's like these grids, and these are like the full picture grids. Oh, yep. And then you see the Tanares map here, which is much expanded and much more detailed than it used to be, which is great. The other one had some good stuff, but it really didn't provide a lot of information. In fact, it didn't even tell you exactly where like some of the quests were. Um,
Yeah, honestly, Stormhand Fort, I thought that was more south or
yeah.
like
Like for example, we
next to
actually
the
see
Rebellion
exactly
Fire
where
Fort.
Efferhill's Citadel is now, which is the first campaign mission from the original game.
Yeah.
So that is awesome to see. So you have these for playing the RPG book. Basically, these will also, so they give this to give you the idea, but then there's also the split up versions here, which I have as well. Let me, here we go. Yep, here's a split up version, so you can print these out. Shows you the orientation of them all. So there's that. Then moving on, you got the overview book. That, by the way, this is all that's coming in the sample. If you missed that part, um, so this overview actually was given. I'm pretty sure this overview is almost exactly the same as the one that they gave out at back in October when we were doing. Oh man, I'm forgetting the name right now. That European board game festival that was online last year. We pretty sure we got this exact same one. It might be slightly revised from that one. Like for example, it says Kickstarter August 2021, but I don't think it's much different. So moving on to the next one. This is actually new content here. So this sample book here is actually the campaign. So this is a sample campaign. Supposedly you can do this as a one shot, although it looks very long to be a one shot. Uh,
Yeah, I don't see how that could ever take like less than at minimum 5 hours
yeah,
for like
right. Or
three
more.
session long missions.
Well, it's one shot if you plan to spend your entire day doing D&D. Come on, Max.
You're right.
One shot. So anyway, it's pretty long. I won't try to spoil it for anybody, but there is a lot of cool new pictures, a lot of dialogue, some other maps, characters that will do some discussions, and anyway, and then there's even like an arena basically at the end, and you have like a little battle. And yeah, there's a lot of extra little things. You also get some items. There's monsters. Like look at, oh man, the penumbral bush. Look at that thing. Oh man, it's vicious. So it's pretty good. Actually, this last picture, one of these pictures here, where it's like the spider lady. It for some reason, like some of these pictures don't feel like they fit quite as much. Like that character specifically looks like she's a little lower quality than some of these other pictures that we got.
Part of that's just, I think, from having so much art, you know?
Yeah. Well, and a lot of
Like,
different artists doing this at the same time. So in fact,
not everything is going to be perfect.
this last picture I know for sure is from the D&D book, which they do reference at the beginning as a source. And then this page here includes some background information on essentially you're getting two of the new classes, the Dragon Blade here, and they give you all the class information on them, the draconic institutions, powers. Um, what is it? Talk about being able to use the Dragon Collection figures to represent your dragon spirit, which sounds pretty awesome. So you'll be able to use your Dragon Collection miniatures in this as well. Then you get the Mad Walker, which is another new class that they've developed. Won't spoil any of these. You'll have to check it out for yourself, but looks pretty awesome as cool. Works a lot with the Penumbral Plane, is what I read so far. And yep, see the auger there. Some of these more monster things. Then they talk a little bit about some of this magic system here. There's a new like a specialization for the cleric, the courage domain. They talk about this race called the Timaku, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
I mean, probably not, but we
Probably
can just go
not.
with
Oh,
it.
I'm probably obliterating it, but that's okay. And then kind of their background, life, all that good stuff. Going down here to get some other great pictures in the Tanares world and some of the more things that are going on there. There you go, Tamaku species traits and some different looks like items there. Some new spells for the cleric class. The Imperial Savant, which I think is basically, what is this? I think it's supposed to be almost like a race or like a title or something like that.
I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be like, yeah, like a hand of the emperor.
Yeah.
But who
Uh,
knows?
Anyway, more exciting is here at the end we got some character sheets that you can actually use for playing the game. So that's exciting. You got Gaknak. If you guys have been around and had Tyson here with us before, this is his character from his D&D campaign way back when. They added his name in here and created a character using their new system based on him. And then looks like they have some cards specifically for the Dragon Blade. I'm not exactly sure how that will work yet. We got Ravel, the Mad Walker, another character sheet here. And some more cards for that character as well. Kalinia, a wizard. So it'll be a wizard character that you can use in the Tanares RPG. So you're ready to play. You don't need to create an entire character all on your own. And then you got Mbolo. That's how I'm going with it. Who is a level 3 cleric. In fact, I think this whole campaign you start off at level 3. They do suggest that you could start earlier if you want to and kind of build up, but it's intended to start at level 3. I think finish about level, was it like level 9 or something like that?
I thought it was level like 10 or something,
Yeah,
but yeah.
something like that. Anyway, so that is the sample. Obviously, you're going to want to check it out for yourself. Um, to get more details on it. Looks like it should be fun. We'll try to be doing our own at least I don't think it'll be a one shot. It'll probably be like a multi-series video on trying to do this sample content, but I highly doubt it'll be a one shot video. Anyway, so that actually is the end of the update. Let me turn this off. Going back. So that is the end of update number 63. All really good news and a lot of stuff about the RPG. Specifically, they said that they, wanted to make sure that they had some good news to give to everyone before they released any other information about the RPG, and that's kind of why we're seeing this now. I will say that we did have one little update here before the end of this week from Alex that specifically says, here we go. Good news to you that we just finished the loading of the U.S. shipment. So that is confirming that the game boxes have been loaded on the actual ship, and so I'm assuming that schedule then is going to hold and that they're actually there now. So that's really good news to hear. And not anything else on any of the other ones, unfortunately. But if we do hear something else, we'll try to inform you on Discord and whatnot. Let's see, what other items did I have to talk about now that we're kind of finishing up?
We could
Um,
talk about the Chronicles of Dragor. That is.
what about it?
We could just say, hey, what's it called in it?
The
The crossover.
Oh, you're saying that Tanares RP or Tanares characters are in the Chronicles of Drunagor reprint or something like that?
Yeah, in the sequel they have her. I think it's Katarina.
Uh huh.
So
Oh wow. I don't know if I've
it,
even seen that myself yet.
it looks like they updated it so that she's not in the what's it called anymore? The add-on expansion. So I don't know where she is.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, she's a necromancer or something.
Interesting.
And oh, I found it. If you look in the chat, I'll just post it again.
Okay.
Do.
I think you had mentioned it, but I don't think I saw a picture on it, so we'll
It's
pull that.
Maeve. So they took the art, remade it, took the name, remade it, and made her a necromancer.
Maeve, human necromancer. Okay. Well, she wasn't even a necromancer anyway. She was, well, I mean, she was a witch, whatever generally that means.
Yeah,
I'm
I
surprised
don't
that they
know.
changed the name though.
I feel like at this point, why don't you just make your own character?
Right?
But
Like, oh, we're gonna change her to be a necromancer, and we're gonna change her name, but she's a crossover. Like, what? Doesn't really make sense at that point. Anyway, well, that's something else coming. One other item that I did want to talk about was boss versus boss. So we've done 2 playthrough videos now, which you can go check on my channel. But I did actually recently discover today we have been playing one little part of that incorrectly, and that was specifically that there was a rule I saw related to saying if your total power level was 8 or lower, that you would get more hit points, which I don't think that anybody had done. But it also mentions this part about choose an unequipped hero to start the match with a talisman at level 1. Which was like, well, wait, aren't all the heroes already at level 1 to begin with? Well, apparently it wasn't very clear because I didn't see it and nobody else noticed it either. And I even mentioned it to Alex, and he kind of admitted that maybe it wasn't clear enough that you're only supposed to have one hero with a talisman at the beginning, assuming everyone has, spent 10 points. Um, but additional heroes get equipped during the upkeep phase or if they open like a treasure chest or something like that. Um, but like the upgrade, it isn't just leveling up the card. It means you're either equipping a hero with a talisman card or you're upping the level of the card. And that was not clear from the rules to me.
Yeah.
After rereading, it starts to make a little more sense that that was the case, but definitely the part about saying that only one hero was supposed to be equipped is not clear at all. It shows you a picture, but it does say like when you deploy your heroes to put, deploy with talisman cards, and it uses like multiple too. So it was not clear.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I'm excited to see what the game's gonna look like when we actually play it correctly.
yeah, I know, right?
It'll definitely be a lot less you know, going super crazy into it and dealing
Yeah,
lots of damage all the time.
yeah, we'll see. Because the talisman cards are definitely very powerful, and there's a lot going on with them. So maybe that'll kind of help tone down the game a lot. That not everyone will be so powered up right from the start. But they never even mentioned to me either that we were playing it incorrectly, and they even told me that they watched one of my videos on it. So I guess they didn't notice it either.
Yeah,
um,
it was still fun even with the wrong rule.
oh yeah, yeah,
And
definitely.
even though we're playing it wrong, it wasn't like we were treating each other unfairly.
Yeah. So in anyway, then the last piece of information that I wanted to talk about was D&D. So we've did our session 0 of our new campaign, which I did briefly mention in the last video, that will now be doing what's it called, Waterdeep Dragon Heist, and we have I think about 6 players that are probably going to be playing, but that may fluctuate a little bit. But anyway, session 1, I'm sorry, will start this Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, or Daylight Savings Time, I guess, whatever time it is right now. um, on 7:30, and we'll be starting this campaign up again. So you can watch it on my channel, or you can check it on Logan Chop's Reviews on his YouTube channel as well. He'll be casting it as well, I believe. So anyway, I think that's pretty much it for the update. You got anything else, Max?
No, I think I'm just excited as everyone to see what these shipments are gonna look like when they come to our house, hopefully next month.
I know it's pretty close, and so I definitely plan to do an unboxing video for at least the Dragon Collection and maybe some other stuff, but we'll be seeing here pretty soon. Well, thanks for coming and joining me here on this video.
Oh wait, one quick stupid
Oh
question
yeah.
for me and maybe the viewers out there. What's gonna be coming in that box again? Is it just boss versus boss?
So actually, Wave 1 comes with quite a bit of items. So there is an update on it. I don't have it off the top of my head right now, but I will tell you what things are supposed to come. I guess this page isn't really a good one to show it, but it's going to be the reprint, so the 1.5 core box version will be getting to people's houses if you're, obviously getting that and you're a new backer. If you're an old backer from the first campaign, you'll be getting the reworked miniatures. If you bought the legendary box, what do you call it? Legendary box like storage option or whatever, then you'll be receiving that along with the updated cards, hero pads, rule books, quest books, campaign book, to all replace the current items you have. I believe, like we saw in there, you'll be getting the legendary box from the update here, right? We saw the things that were kind of coming out of there. Legendary box will be coming, and Elder Dragon, of course, and then the Map Pack 1 will be coming as well. I believe sleeves will be coming as well. Dice will be coming as well, In fact, I think those two were tied together. So those will be coming. Trying to think. Of course, the Dragon Collection, which you already mentioned. Oh,
Yeah,
any
lots of good stuff coming our
pretty
way.
much. There's a ton of stuff coming. In fact, if I was looking at the Pledge Manager page right now, it would probably be almost like 80% of the items on there are coming in Wave 1. And, while there's a lot of things, Tanares Adventures is going to be massive. So Wave 2 will still be very big, even though it's just like Tanares Adventures and I think like Map Pack 2. So anyway, that's about it. So thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, and share with your friends and family. And we'll see you at the next one. Thanks.